Well, good morning to all, or good evening, wherever you are. My name is Dan Walters. I'm the current chairman of the board for the American Mission Hospital. I'm coming to you from Austin, Texas, where it is midnight. This is a very exciting time for us. Our strategic planning journey continues, and we have people with us in this meeting, certainly from all over Bahrain, from the clinical service line heads, the operational leaders. We have board members with us in this meeting from the United States, from Europe, from India, and it's an international meeting for certain. You know, our strategic planning journey continues. This has been a great journey, much different than the last time we did this. The last time we did a strategic plan was with the AMH board in 2018. And that was just the board of directors. And since then, it's time to update this plan, to refresh it. That needs to be done from time to time. And we want to sync up with the Bahrain government's plan of 2030. So here we are. A couple of comments before we get started. In my experience, in doing this sort of planning exercise, you get better solutions the more people you have at the table and involved in the planning process up front, as we're doing now. Also, of course, the plan will result in a document at the end, and that's important, and that will be a planning document that we'll use for some time. Many different people will use. But one of the most important things that comes from this is the process and the conversations that we have together in meetings like today, or this evening, or tonight, wherever you're located. I told our vision planning team last week when we met, I think it's very interesting. In the Bible, God was talking to the prophet Jeremiah, and he said, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans for welfare and not for evil." And when I first learned that passage and memorized that passage, it was in the translation that says, "I know the plans I have for you." But other translations, that word plan can just as correctly be translated thoughts, where God is saying, "I know the thoughts I have for you, thoughts for welfare and not for evil." And in my simple mind, you know, when God plans, those are his thoughts are his plans. He does those concurrently, but not with us. For us, it's sequential. So in doing this plan, we need to share our thoughts, and that will result in the plan, and that's what we're about here. As we get started, I'd like to ask John Stapert, coming to us from Phoenix, Arizona, let me pray for us, and we'll begin. Most merciful and compassionate God, we thank you for bringing us together. We thank you for the gifts and skills and talent that you've brought everyone in this meeting. We do thank you for the plans that you have for the American Mission Hospital in Bahrain, plans for welfare and not for evil. And we pray that you would put on our heart what's on your heart today. In Jesus' name, amen. Sam, I'll turn things over to you and Dr. George.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning and Ramadan Kareem. Today is quite an auspicious day because this is the first day of Ramadan. I just remind myself, Ramadan is not all about fasting, but it's about spiritual purity. And it's not just about one day or a month. It is how we relate to mankind in good deeds. If you don't deal with man well, you can't deal with God well. So I think this is truly an auspicious day on the first day of Ramadan. We actually come together collectively as an organization. There are 950 people in the organization, but I can see there's over 100 people there, and there are close to about 100 people in the auditorium here. So as the chairman said, we have been in this process of looking at a new vision and a new strategic plan for the American Mission Hospital healthcare system. From one small hospital, we've grown to 2, 3, 4, and 5 with the opening of the King Hamad American Mission Hospital. And so now it's a time for us to collectively reflect on how our journey is going to go forward for the next 6 years. Now, you'll ask me why 6 years? And 6 years is because the government has got a 2030 strategic plan in how the whole of Bahrain is developing. And so we have aligned our strategic goals and plans along with the 2030 vision. And once we get to 2030, or just before we get to 2030, the next 20 years will unfold because the government has already announced the 2050 strategic plan for the country as a whole. So this journey will never stop. It's an ongoing journey. But what's exciting for all of you sitting here and online is that this is an incredibly important part of the history of the American Mission Hospital, because we are at an inflection point where we are rapidly growing. And as this growth happens, we need to be clear in all our minds that this journey is not just taken by the board or by the leadership of the organization, but this is a journey that we are all going to take. It's like the bullet train in Japan. We all have to be on board to take us to our destination. Some of the slides that you've already seen, but it's important for those who haven't seen these slides to actually follow on what I'm actually going to present today, because over the last maybe 6 months, the board has been on a journey in creating what I would call a new vision. And in order for us to enable this vision to happen, there needs to be a strategic plan that supports the vision. And ultimately, a vision and a strategy by itself is not going to accomplish anything. We need to execute that vision. That execution comes from all of us collectively believing in the vision and the mission, and then accompanying all of us to achieve this task. So that's the Bahrain's 2030 vision. Okay. And obviously, this has now been updated with the Bahrain's 2030 vision. And I'm not going to read it, but I've underlined a few key things there. In order for the economy of the country to actually improve, it is not just one sector that needs to improve. There are multiple sectors that actually generate and improve the economy of a country. It is health, it's education, it's the business climate, small and medium-term businesses. They all have to sort of lift up for the economy to go up. So we are particularly involved in the healthcare sector. And this is a slide that was actually presented by the Economic Development Board, specifically focusing on health. And this was actually presented maybe 2 weeks ago and in the EDB. And this is just focusing on the health sector. And on the health sector, you can see that there are 3 hospitals mentioned there as part of the government's strategic plan, looking into how the government is looking towards 2030. There is a King Hamad University Hospital, the King Hamad American Mission Hospital, and the third one is a cardiac center. So these are the 3 hospitals identified to push healthcare to the 2030 goals of Bahrain. So you can see that we are part of the strategic goal of the government in how we develop our services to achieve the government's healthcare goals for 2030. Moving on, our mission, by the way, stays unchanged from 1902, and I have projected all the way to 2123. Our mission doesn't change. This is who we are, and we are here to provide high-quality healthcare at affordable cost to all segments of the population as a not-for-profit organization, and that doesn't change at all. There's no redefining the mission. And so the board of directors, as part of their scope of work, looked at the mission stays the same. We need to relook at the vision, and we need to actually create a strategic plan that will actually match up with the new vision we are trying to create. So this is our existing vision that hangs on the ID badge of all of the employees, to be a leader in setting standards of high quality, innovative care in Bahrain. So the task today for us is, how are we going to reframe this vision going forward into 2030? And so the board over the last 6 months, along with leadership, has been working on this, but today it is being unveiled to you so that you will be part of this redefining this vision. And based on how we redefine this vision, the strategic plan will be created and an operational plan will follow, so that together we will get to 2030. Mind you, this is not a plan that we're going to execute tomorrow or the day after. This is a plan that goes all the way to 2030, and there are steps in this. So if you look at the impact that we've had as an organization, our impact from 1903 to 1940 has been not just local, it has been regional. And many of you who know the history of the American Mission Hospital know that until 1940, the chief medical officers of this institution traveled to Kuwait, to Saudi, to Qatar, to UAE, and to Muscat to provide healthcare for the people there, and including the ruling families of all of these countries. And what happened after 1940s is once oil was discovered, and each of these countries became wealthy from oil, there no longer was the need for a charitable mission hospital in each of these regions. So the American Mission Hospital Kuwait, which still exists, is a museum. The American Mission Hospital in Dubai is somewhere under some big skyscraper in Dubai. Nobody even knows the location of that. The one in Muscat is an Islamic Christian interfaith center. The hospital is still there, but functions as an educational center. The only hospital that still exists as a hospital is the American Mission Hospital in Bahrain. And we were the first ones, established 1900, 1903. AMH Bahrain was the first hospital that was. So we actually had both local impact and regional impact till about 1940. But since 1940, our impact has been very local. And then you can say that after the independence of Bahrain in 1971-72, our local impact really did not actually grow. We kind of remained static there, while as all the government and the other private hospitals began to mushroom on the island of Bahrain. So the idea is for us to regain a regional focus and ultimately to become, our impact has to be global. So this is the long-term vision of the hospital, 2030 and beyond, that our impact should not just be in Bahrain, not just as the GCC, but we could actually have global impact. Certainly the regional impact we will actually create with the 2030 vision. And then the global impact beyond that, people who will be then working in this organization, leading this organization, will lead this organization to have a global impact. This is a statement that hangs on many walls, and you've actually seen it. We can only achieve this reframed vision if we are all together on this journey together. Okay, so it's not just the board, it's not just the CEO, it's not just the leadership team. It's everyone in the organization will have to believe in this dream. And not just believe in this dream, we'll have to get on board, roll up our sleeves, and work together to achieve this reframed vision for us. What are our key differentiating features as an organization? We've got a brand and a legacy that goes back 125 years. There are very few hospitals that have this kind of legacy. And if you look at us, we are the only hospital here that's a not-for-profit organization. We are known as AMH NPC, not-for-profit corporation. And what is in the middle, and the WIP is work in progress. What we're actually creating in the middle is we are creating an organization with outstanding patient experience, and we are also creating an integrated model of care where the patient is in the center of the patient's need, and we would actually come around the patient, primary, secondary, tertiary care, all seamlessly coming around the patient to provide care that whatever care the patient needs. Okay, so we don't work in isolation as one hospital versus another or one unit against the other. We're all here, and our sole purpose of existing is to make sure that any patient care need can be actually met by the team who is part of the American Mission Hospital healthcare system. So patient experience and integrated care model is something that we on the ground is working on. But the board knows that the only way we will achieve our strategic plan is by integrating all of this together. Now, coming back specifically to how we look at this, and this is the actual process that has actually started about 6 months ago, reframing our vision. So we come up with a new vision. And if you're going to have a new vision, then obviously to fulfill that vision, we need a new strategy. And to fulfill that strategy, we need resources. And resources, by the way, is just not money. it is manpower, and also equipment, machines. So we need all the three M's as resources to fulfill our strategy going into the future. And ultimately, execution is the operations. How do we operationalize this new strategy? And that role is going to be for the executive management, the service line heads, and all of the employees of this organization, because we are the guys in the foxholes, or I would say in the trenches. Okay, so we have to execute this grand plan that is being set today and being unveiled today. So we have to actually execute it. And on the right, you will see quality, patient safety, patient experience outcomes, accessibility, affordability. Those are key things that will remain unchanged. Amplifiers of our vision is what we see the future, see the evolving need, understand the greater purpose. This is our mission. Use the power of legacy for forward momentum and involve all the key stakeholders. And you are the key stakeholders. The public is a stakeholder, but we are the key stakeholders that will actually have to make this happen. Now, when the consumer or the patient looks at us, when a patient looks at the organization or looks at us from the outside, what do they see? What is important for the patient? And I put this graph here before. On one axis, you will see the value axis. On the other one, you will see consumers N. Consumers N is the number of patients who actually use our organization. And if we do not do anything, okay, if we just carry on doing as we are, then our growth will carry on like this, and then it'll gradually begin to plateau here. Okay, it'll gradually begin to plateau here. The reason why it is going to plateau here is for two reasons. One, the population of Bahrain is small, it is not rapidly growing. The number of new medical institutions coming into Bahrain will also increase. So no single institution will have all of the consumers, and the consumers are going to be diluted between multiple organizations. So naturally, this traditional model of what we've been following will actually cause a flatlining, and the organization cannot grow. It's just impossible to grow. So through the eyes of the customer, if we have to create a new model of growth that will substantially increase the impact of what we do for our patients and for healthcare for the country, then we need to understand what is important for our customers. And this is what is important for the customers. Okay, for the customer or our patient, the first thing they look at is cost. The second thing they would look at is convenience. Connectivity, can they remain connected to the organization, to physicians? How do they experience care within the four walls of the organization? And today's young people and old people are all technology driven. Can they make an appointment through going on through an app, through a web page? How easy is it for them to navigate our electronic healthcare systems and so on and so forth? So this is how the consumer will actually look at us. They're not going to look at it and say whether you're Diamond accredited, whether JCI accredited. That's not like, they don't care. This is what they care about. And this says it all. This slide says it all. Patient can't measure quality of clinical care as we do. That's how we do it, But they can measure quality of their experience. They can tell you precisely, when I came to the hospital, were the staff courteous? Was my appointment on time? Was the procedures painless? Did they explain everything that was going to happen to me? Was the bill that ultimately comes out of this, was that made visible, clear, no ambiguity, no nothing? So this is what a patient cares about. And the question for us is, how do we make it easy for the patient to experience this? And this is how organizations create value. This is not just specific for the American Mission Hospital healthcare system, but this is for all healthcare systems on how, I'm just going to admit that. We are already working on all of this. Create bundle payment systems. These are our packages. So patient comes, they know what the package is. And we are organizing care into integrated practice units through ARMS. This is Ali, Amwaj, Rifa, Manam, and Sa. We're no longer talking about Jupiter and Mars, but we're talking about ARMS. And this creation of integrated practice units is how patients seamlessly move from department to department, primary care to secondary care to tertiary care. They all have to feel that this movement is quite seamless. We really have to leverage the power of IT in an enabling IT platform, which thankfully we have. We are building collaborative partnerships, and I will talk about that. We have to aggressively train tomorrow's workforce. And that job is our responsibility, and we will have to do it here. We can't expect somebody else to do it for us. So a lot of this training and development will have to happen in-house and within the country. And ultimately, we will have to expand our services across boundaries. So this is how we create value, both for us and for the country in healthcare. And if you ask me, what are our goals for 2030 as an organization? Simply, in simple terms, to be a hub of excellence for healthcare in the GCC with a focus on surgical, women and child health services. That doesn't mean to say that other services are not important, but we will have to focus on a few things so that we become really good at what we do. And this is going to happen through leveraging the power of teaching, training, and digitization through various collaborations. And how are our new capabilities going to be fostered? How do we actually do it? The real nuts and bolts of this. Okay. We certainly have, we are able to leverage the strength of partners through RCSI and very soon the Mayo Clinic in training, teaching, and research for not just for medical students, but for our existing staff, and for soon internship programs that will be starting here, followed by hopefully residency programs. And ultimately, the long-term goal is to start fellowships here that is supported by our external partners. And with this, we will be able to seamlessly integrate all the primary, secondary cases into tertiary care. And ultimately, the goal is to develop a hospital without borders, meaning that our care will be extended to the community where electronically or digitally we can communicate and take care of patients at home. And I'm not just simply talking about some doctor and nurse going and seeing a patient at home or sending a phlebotomist or a physiotherapist there. We will be able to manage sick patients at home, patients on oxygen, patients who have an exacerbation of heart failure, patients who have dialysis needs that are complicated. They don't have to come into hospital, but we should be able to have the capability to manage these patients at home through a platform that we will build here, where we can monitor these patients 24/7 within our command center here in the hospital. So ultimately, this is the goal of how we're going to expand our care into the community. And as I said, the enabler for all of this is going to come through our partnerships, our workforce development. And our workforce development is a key part of everything that we're going to do. And this can only happen through the values that we have of trust, transparency, teamwork, and training. That's our core values that will enable us to do it. And ultimately, we will have to create a new financial model. The current financial model is all about a patient comes, fee for service. You do a procedure, you get charged for it. But these models of fee for service models are going to change in the next 5 years, or maybe even sooner. So universal insurance will come in. Trust me, it was supposed to have come this year. It might not come next year, but ultimately it will come. It's a must for the government to introduce that. And so reimbursement models are going to change in how we currently experience it. As I said, workforce development of the future is key for us, because how medicine is going to be shaped and delivered in the future is going to be very different as we experience it today. So we will certainly have to look into this future and then see how it is going to be done. So what we have been doing in sort of taking all of this to say, okay, how do we create this new vision? So for the last 6 months, the board, along with the senior leadership team of the hospital, has been on multiple Zoom meetings and in-person meetings to create this new vision for the American Mission Hospital healthcare system. And you can say that this could be the vision of the Bahrain healthcare system as well. And there are 5 pillars to this. And you can see that this is the Manama Dallas workshop that happened in January 2024. And what I'm presenting to you today is a distilled version of everything that went in that workshop, the 5 pillars. And I will start with the first pillar. And these are the various things that actually came up. What is important for AMH is all in there. Future healthcare, wellness, patient-centered learning, scholarship, academic scholarship, teamwork, collaboration. These are the things that are important that came up as key words in this program. And I just put the statement here because this also came up as part of the discussion that we had in January in Dallas. And this is a statement by late Sheikh Isa. And this letter was written to the then CEO, Donald Hepburn, in October 3, 1988. And it's up there for you to read. And so this just tells us the endearing relationship that this organization has had to the people of Bahrain and to the leadership of the country. So this is not a relationship that suddenly started yesterday and suddenly, the President, His Majesty King Hamad, suddenly, said, create this hospital. The history of this institution goes back 100 years. And it is that actually allows us to do the things that we do today. The first pillar that was actually discussed is up here. And again, I'm not going to read it, but the key words that actually define us are in the statement here. We are mission-driven, and we derive our strength from alignment with our mission and our values. This is what drives everything. And then there's a statement below that that's highlighted keywords. We are not for profit. We have a legacy of 125 years. We are committed to providing high quality healthcare with the biblical values of compassion, love, and grace. And then to all segments of the society and enhancing the standards of healthcare in the region. So it's not just about enhancing the standards of the people who come to AMH, but influencing everything that happens within the healthcare system of Bahrain as a country. So this is the first pillar. So we absolutely had to make sure that when we created a new vision, this was an important pillar that we always had to think of. Then there was a second pillar. So this pillar is how we see the future of healthcare. Okay, we see the future of healthcare in preserving health, and we intend to be a leader in it. Meaning that preventative health is going to play an increasingly important part in how healthcare is going to be delivered in the future. And again, I have highlighted some of the statements there: integrated, complex, multidisciplinary ecosystems. We are not going to work in isolation. We are working together. We're going to use digital technology and augmented AI, which is already here. We're going to be proactive, participative, preventative, and the treatment is going to be precise. No longer is going to be, they're going to be generic treatment for cancers and so on and so forth. It's going to be very, very precise targeted treatment. So again, the vision statement will also have to include some of these elements because this is important. This is the future of health. The third pillar, our model of healthcare will be person-centric. That is an absolute key. Care has to be individualized and patient-centric in everything that we do. It's not just a general statement. Patient is the most important person in this equation, patient-centric. And again, I've underlined a few things there. Patient centricity, experience, integrated, agile, adaptable learning workforces that embrace all of the changes. And again, this is pillar number 3. You've got 2 more pillars to go. Pillar number 4 is how technology is actually going to help us to extend our care into the home of patients. So no longer is care provided within the 4 walls of a hospital or the 4 walls of a consult room, but it is going to be extended into the homes of patients out in the community. If we don't do that, care is going to be very limited to short periods of time and will not cover the whole continuum of the lifespan of a patient with type 2 diabetes, with chronic renal failure, with a stroke, with ischemic heart disease. I mean, his heart disease just does not exist for the 3 days he spends in ICU. He's going to go home with ischemic heart disease and chronic heart failure. So we have to stay connected with that patient through the whole cycle of that patient's. And that can only be done through the connectivity that hopefully we have now with AI and everything else that actually helps us to provide that kind of care. And finally, pillar number 5. Pillar number 5 is the teaching training that actually comes together. When you talk about world-class healthcare systems, you cannot talk about a world-class healthcare system if there is no teaching, training, and research involved in that institution. You can be an excellent healthcare provider, but that can never be world-class. This world-class definition will only come to institutions that has the ability to train physicians, to train nurses, because when you're training, the trainers are on their toes. They're sharp with what is happening. And we all know that outcomes are much better in hospitals that are teaching training hospitals than simply being a private hospital or a district general hospital. Outcomes for patients, especially when care is complex and multidisciplinary, outcomes are much better in teaching training facilities. And that is our aspiration to become one. So these are the 5 pillars. And if these are the 5 pillars, how do we take everything that I just talked about in these 5 pillars and come up with a definition of a new vision? So this is the challenge that we are still struggling with. It hasn't finished. Okay. So to take all these 5 pillars that I've talked about and then put it together as a simple statement as a vision. So I'm just going to give you 2 versions of what the board and we have come about. And we have a vision team. There's Edwin on the team, Dr. Jamie is on the team. There are several people on this team, the vision team. There's a separate team for strategy, and there's a third team for execution. So there are 3 teams working on it. So what I'm presenting today to you is unveiling the vision team of where we have gotten to. We are 90% there. Okay, we are 90% there. April, the board is going to be here, and then the board will be finalizing the vision and then talking to you about how we're going to start shape the strategy to fulfill the vision. So the next slide. So this is our existing vision. So if I had to combine all the 5 pillars and come up with a statement that will sort of reflect our new vision, how is it going to look like and how is it going to read? So this is one version of the vision. Just have a read of it and see, because these vision statements cannot be long. You can see the current one on the left. And this is a new version that has actually come about. To be a model in setting standards for health and being a provider. See, it's health, not healthcare, it's health. And being a provider of collaborative, high-quality, innovative healthcare in Bahrain and beyond. So now we have, this has come to not just to Bahrain, but Bahrain and beyond. We are focusing on health, not just on healthcare, but then with collaborative partnerships, we can provide outstanding healthcare. So this is version 1. And I'm going to provide you with version 2. And then I think Sam will then introduce an exercise for you guys to do, work on, to produce maybe a version 3 or a version 4. And in April, we will then select the version of our new enabled vision is going to be, and we will unveil it. Okay, so this is version 2. To be a model for high-quality, patient-centered healthcare and training through collaborative partnerships for the people of Bahrain and beyond. Both of them read pretty much the same because it had to incorporate pretty much all of the key elements that had to come into a vision. And if I ask you for a hand raise for 1 or 2, some of you will like 1, some of you will like 2, and some of you might not like either of them. If you don't like either of them, then it is your job to come up with another statement that encompasses all the 5 pillars that I've just talked about. So I will leave this slide on and then invite Sam to come on and then lead us on to the next part of this session.
Thank you, Doctor, for sharing that. This is, like Dr. John shared, this has been a labor of love over the last 6 months. This morning, yesterday we decided to invite everyone to participate. The meeting, just for information, is already oversubscribed. Okay, so thank you so much for taking the time to be here. So here is an opportunity for you to share some feedback, okay? And here's what that's going to look like. One is we're just going to ask the question from you. The 2 visions that you saw, is a vision clear? Is a vision bold enough? And will it inspire the hearts and minds of our staff, Okay, so just a short time from now, I'm just going to ask you to use your mobile phone, scan the QR code on the screen, and find some opportunity to share some feedback. Secondly, you heard about 5 vision pillars, right? We will ask the question, which vision pillar excites you the most? Okay. Now, don't worry, you didn't have to remember the 5 vision pillars. The 5 vision pillars will appear on the screen. And then lastly, how does the AMH and Vision 2030 resonate with you? Okay, or make you feel? Some of you could take the liberty at the time to share your own version of the vision, or you could just share how does that make you feel as you hear, as you heard the vision and the 5 vision pillars. Okay. Okay, so you could scan the QR code, and you will have an opportunity for you to respond to this. Okay, so you've got 3 questions that's going to appear on your mobile screen, asking you to respond to: is the vision clear? Is the vision bold enough? And also, is the vision going to inspire the hearts and minds of our people? Okay, let's look at the first one. Okay, as you have responded. So out of a scale of 5, the team has rated a 4.4, saying the vision is clear. Okay, so the vision stream team, I'm sure many of you are here. This is a good piece of feedback for you as well as you worked on it. Then the second one, which says a vision is bold enough, it says 4.2 out of a scale of 5. Okay. And then lastly, the vision will inspire the hearts and minds of our staff. It says a 4.4. Okay. So that's good feedback from the team. I hope you found that was a good opportunity for you. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay. So you heard 5 vision pillars being shared, right? And the question is, out of the 5, which vision pillar excites you the most? Okay. This is just again some feedback for the team as you share your feedback. I hope all of you would respond to this. Only one option, yes. It's a difficult choice when I got to pick one. Yeah, teaching is at 30, yeah, 40 out of everything, okay? This is good. This is to get just some opportunity for all of us, okay, to share the feedback. Teaching is at 55. Okay. Okay, we've had 100 people respond, a few more to respond. Okay, pick the selection and click submit at the bottom. Okay, just 10 more. All right, so out of the 5 pillars, clearly teaching has come up on top. Okay, teaching is at 64, 65. People have selected the teaching. Then followed by technology-enabled care that's been extended into the home, hospital into the home, followed by we're mission-driven and we drive our strength from alignment with our mission and vision. And then we see the future of healthcare in preserving health. And then our model of care to be of person-centric. Okay, it doesn't mean one is worse than the other, but this is just an opportunity at first glance when you heard the 5 pillars, and this is good for you to know, right? How did people respond this morning? Okay, clearly there seems to be a communication from you as staff, and we as staff to say something about the 5 different pillars. Okay, and lastly, how does the AMH Vision 2030 resonate with you or make you feel? Okay, so this is something for you to type in. Okay, you can type in your name in, you don't have to, but this is something that you can do. Yeah. Okay, the first comment says proud, exciting, interesting, excited, yeah. Realistic, okay, that's nice to hear. And the Vision Stream team, this is great feedback as you hear staff provide those feedback. Excited, hopeful, motivates me, excited. excited to onboard. Yeah, audacious. Yeah. Yeah, okay, aligns well with the personal vision. Okay, we have 40 odd respond. Use the opportunity to share your voice. Okay, somebody reads the dimensions of what we must model must be elaborated. It must be integrated and viable. Yeah, prayerfully, we will need to go forward together. AMH vision remains selfless. This is the future of healthcare. God's AMH. I'm proud to be part of that. Yeah, a message to rally around and everybody giving the best. Okay, somebody's asking when are we started? Okay, so yeah, I think I'm going to look at our chief, corporate CEO and our group CEO because she's going to already started work for that. So yeah, everybody else. Yeah, Bahrain and beyond is a bold statement. Yeah, resonates with the leadership. Yeah. The vision will benefit Bahrain immensely. Compassion, grace, and love is rare in other centers. Yeah. Okay, a couple of more seconds if you've not still responded. All right, so that was a quick exercise. I'm going to share this with the leaders for sure. For you to take the opportunity to share, how does the vision and the vision pillars sit with you? Okay, we just got one more thing before we close. Okay, AMH loves a competition, and I think that goes without saying. Okay, we've had a number of competitions in the past, and we've seen how our teams have come together. Okay, maybe the Christmas decor, maybe the staff competition where or during the staff party, the word competition has some magical ring with our team. Okay, so we're going to actually launch competition. I'm going to share a video for this.
With a vision for the future, on a mission, with a vision for the future, on a mission that says we care.
Dear AMH family, we know you love competitions. We know AMH thrives on the electrifying energy it brings. Before we officially unveil our Vision 2030, we want all of you to come together and have some fun as we arrive at it. We are calling on leaders and employees from every corner of our organization to join forces and to embark on a journey of imagination and creativity. What's the challenge? To produce an award-winning video that demonstrates what will working at AMH look like in 2030. And how do you make that video? From engaging role plays to captivating skits, you can use any creative approach. Let your imagination soar as you tackle this challenge. But remember, keep it concise. Your video should be no more than 2 to 3 minutes long. Anything more, and it might not get to the judges. The deadline for submissions of these videos is Wednesday, April 10th, 12 noon, Bahrain time. So let the creative juices flow. Let's embark on this thrilling journey together as we demonstrate what will working at AMH look like in 2030. So whether you're a natural in front of the camera or a wizard behind the scenes, this is your opportunity to showcase your vision and to make a collective impact as a part of the AMH staff community. Let's harness our creativity and shape the future of AMH together. Join us as we dare to dream and forge a future beyond imagination. The AMH 2030 Vision Video Challenge awaits.
Okay, I'm sure that's going to get you excited. Okay, here is the opportunity. Quick few information on the challenge. So you saw the vision. you heard our CEO share about what the vision pillars look like. But how does it look like a few 6 years from now to working at the hospital? Okay, of course, a lot is going to change. Okay, but it's exciting for all of us to envision what 2030 looks like. Okay, so the challenge is going to be revolving around that. And also, you heard corporate CEO say, what does your vision statement look like? Okay, so you could include a vision statement of how you see it. Okay, you could choose to share one of the two that was shared. Your team can decide to share something completely differently. Okay, but make sure you have a vision statement as part of your video. Okay, and then of course the judging criteria. Okay, creativity. And how the whole videography and cinema works out. Humor, for sure. How teamwork, okay? The idea is to be able to include everybody who's part of a team. How much are we anchored to the mission? And then how your sound works out, okay? So these are a few things that's available. And okay, just to be mindful, okay? The timing matters. Anything beyond 3 minutes, I'm afraid is going to be tough for the judges, okay? Yeah, we just got just got the deadline. Okay, so you've got exactly 30 days. Okay, today is the 11th of March. So you've got exactly 30 days for us to produce this. Okay, and we're going to ask you to upload the video using WeTransfer. And like you saw on the video, there is a live update. Anything related to the challenge is going to come. Okay, so here are the groups. Just before I put the groups on screen, most of the groups we've also looked at. There is a need for tech, so we've sometimes combined some of the groups, but also there have been some small teams where we have combined with another team, so there is sizable number. But at the same time, if you're a larger group, then we've just left the group as it is. Okay. So here is what the groups look like. They're in multiple slides. Okay. Again, we will share what you see on the screen with you. Okay. I'm sure you're looking for your department. Okay. Yeah, we've included every possible department. Please reach out in case you don't find a department in there. Okay. That's important for us because we want every single department to be part of this. Okay, every department to join and be part of the challenge. So here's what we have, and I'm hopeful that all of us are going to be, as usual, have the same excitement to join in. Okay, so here's the link for live updates. This is available on our website, and you're going to have the opportunity to be part of this as well. Okay, Dr. George is going to come and close this time.
Sam, thank you for being part of this team. I just want to first of all acknowledge and thank so many people who've been working alongside to make this happen. We've got our vision team sitting right here. There is a vision team part of the board that is joining online. And I just want to say that at least from the initial preliminary things that we actually voted on, I'm quite excited to see that people seem to get an idea of how we need to be like in 2030. I mean, there are still about 17 people who would like the status quo, and that's not surprising. There's always a group of people who do not like change, but that's part of who we are as human beings. But our goal is to get them on board. I don't want anyone to drop off the bus or the train. We need to get everyone on board as we sort of move out of the station. And the board will be here in April, and the final version of the vision will be, unveiled to you. The strategy team is already working on the strategic plan, and that will again be unveiled to you in April. And then once the vision and the strategy is fully sort of defined, the execution of the operational team headed by Julie and some of the other board members will actually carry this to execution. So that's the whole idea. But I'm quite excited because this is the first time in the 15 years that I've been here I was involved with the board in creating the first vision statement as we were sort of growing. And now this is a huge opportunity for all of us to redefine healthcare, not just for the American Mission Hospital, but for healthcare in Bahrain. So thank you. Dan, do you have something to say?
George, that's it. Really appreciate all the work that's gone into this. And I would just say, may God richly bless your Ramadan this year.
Thank you, Dan.
And unless Sam's got something else, I guess we're ready to adjourn at this point and get started on this Dare to Dream video.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Be done. Thank you.